All right, NVDA on Friday, August 16th, 1.4%, 124.50. That's where it closed, above its 50-day moving average. And at the moment, if we just take a look at this chart, yes, we did have pretty big decline all the way to $90 levels. Well, I was waiting for a little bit more, but we did bounce off of this $95 support, and we didn't test this level actually too many times. It did stay above this level, and it was pretty volatile here with pretty big range, but this rally from its Monday flush down, it's almost 35+% rally in a 7-8 trading sessions. So if you're somebody going into earnings waiting for a little bit more, well, probability of that is the risk reward is not significant at this point, but again, these are purely for educational and entertainment purposes only. So this is the resistance, 125, that I'm watching for the stock. Above that level, we have 135. But the big headlines coming up next week would be, everybody would be watching the Fed and Jerome Powell, because he's going to be, Jerome Powell is going to set the tone going into the September possible rate decision, whether it's going to be 0.25 or 0.5, and for the rest of the year, how many rate cuts are coming, or maybe there won't be even any cuts in the coming September rate decision meeting, so FOMC meeting. So 18th of September, that's a pretty big date, but this is the probability. That's how it has changed. If you just been watching this throughout this move, as markets bounced, a lot of people adjusted their bets, because what are these probabilities? It's basically people like you and me, like a bunch of traders out there, betting that there will be 0.5% rate cut or 0.25% rate cut. So probability has dampened, for 2 rate cuts. And right now, market is pricing in that there's a 72% probability there will be only 1 cut in September, and only 27% probability of possible 2 rate cuts. And again, it is, I think, Wednesday, but until then, after that event, we do have NVIDIA's own big event, which is their earnings. 28th of August, after market close, they're about to report their Q2 earnings. And, we know that going into that event, the implied volatility is elevated, and you can see it by looking at the expiration date of the option activity for August 30th, 81% IV, and market, basically stock market and traders, basically option traders, pricing in that it can move 16 points up or down. That's a pretty big move. But going into next week, it is implying 7 points. So right here, right now, this level of 125 ultra short term, that's the resistance. Stock back above its 50-day moving average for the first time in almost a month. Last time we slipped below this in July. So ever since, we haven't seen the stock above 50-day moving average. So we did get back above it yesterday, and today held above it. So that 50-day moving average, ultra short term, 120, that would be the support I would be watching. And if we get a little bit more, 115, I would watch this as a resistance, as a support, and as a resistance to the upside. We have the highest close at around 135 something, but that's the resistance going forward to the upside. So what is going on with option activity in general? Like today, we have talked about it last time as well, where that this stock is pretty much cash cow for the market makers, and pretty much everybody who's trading has been trading it and selling premium up or down every single day throughout this year, and maybe even previous year. Again, today, the most active highly traded option stock is Nvidia with 5 million volume. 61% of that volume was call volume, and 38% of that volume was put volume. And you have to be very careful if you're somebody who's just purely trading ultra short-term options, because well, you can see like it can move. A lot of people tend to jump into the bandwagon after stock moving. Like, it has moved in ultra short term, like in about like week or so, 35+% move. I think I have mentioned it already, but that's a pretty big move. What's the probability that it will keep moving forward? Of course, we might have, I do think that we already have pre-earnings run up. We can definitely chop, maybe drift a little bit towards 130, but I'm not somebody who's betting the farm here saying that it will keep going and it will go through this 140 all-time highs that we have before they report earnings. After they report earnings, if we do stay above 50-day moving average, then I would look for some option activity. But right here, right now, well, market makers are the winners, and they have been milking both, buying the calls, selling the puts, selling the calls, buying the puts. They have been the ones that have been capitalizing on this name throughout this year, actually. And I don't have any position in this name. I'm just watching this name until they report earnings. Also, ultra short term, you can watch this trend line as a resistance like this. If you can just draw this equal highs, basically this sort of a little bit downtrending resistance line from 140 high in June, and then July high, lower high. So far, you can watch this basically this line as a possible area of resistance, and I wouldn't be someone who would be betting that this would break out of this level. I would usually if I'm watching something like this, I let the stock basically break out, test that level, and then watch for it to push higher. And it has happened many times with this name as well. Last time, maybe when we had this sort of a correction, more than 20%, this was it. It was making lower highs right here, and then we recovered, tested this level, and then it drifted higher and then consolidated, and then after earnings it did start pushing higher. Similar action if we do break, that's the resistance line I would be watching for NVDA. So that's the update going forward for the rest of the August. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.